Hello, and I sure hope everyone is keeping well. Time flies by so fast. Spring is upon us. Sadiq Khan is being exposed bare. There is no way out for him to hide. Please, may I ask you a great favor? Please kindly subscribe to the channel. It helps the growth of the channel more than I can explain. Thank you very much.
The Mayor's budget is over £20 billion. He's currently carrying 2.1 billion in reserve. And with that, you have to ask yourself, why then is there an 8.8% increase in your council tax this year from this Mayor? You have to ask yourself why, over this Mayor's term, he's increased his section of the council tax by 57%. Now, that's the bill he's given you as Londoners for his role as Mayor. Anyone here who's working, you go for your one-to-ones and you think about your job description. Let's think about the Mayor's job description. He's the Commissioner for the Police. The police is in special measures. Responsible for fire, it's in special measures. Housing hasn't met its targets. In fact, he may have to return some money because he hasn't built enough houses. TfL, as we know, broke, and he's topping up that gap by taking money off of you through ULEZ. By the way, telling you that £2,000 is going to buy you a new car, that goes to show somebody who's far removed from reality, right? So what you have to ask yourself is, when he's not accusing you of being far right, when he's not saying you're denying science, when he's not completely obsessed about Boris Johnson. Now look, there is somebody living rent-free in London right in the middle of Sadiq Khan's head. What he's doing is he's blaming government. And he's always talking about what government should do, because he never wants to talk about what he hasn't done.
Economic recovery. I do not know what the Mayor thinks small businesses on the outskirts of London are going to do when their customers don't come over the border because it will cost them £12.50 on top of going to the local shop for a loaf of bread or whatever. They're just not going to do it. I walked up and down this high street I live, Hatch End High Street, with the Telegraph the other day. We went in most of the shops and not one of them thought the ULEZ was a good idea. Not one of them. I hope you're listening, Sadiq. People are very upset about the ULEZ. If you ask people here today their main concern, it's clear it's ULEZ, and yet we've been rushed on to other subjects. You haven't answered their questions. It wasn't in your manifesto. It wasn't in your manifesto. You are not giving people enough time to sort this out. Gradually, people's cars will go anyway. In our amendment to your budget, we looked at replacing buses. Buses are on the road the whole time, spewing out fumes. If we electrified the bus fleet, then the air quality would improve, because every one of us wants improved air quality. But to shove a £12.50 fine on the poorest in society is dreadful. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Mayor. He doesn't listen to a word any of us say, unless, of course, you're Labour.
What I find unacceptable, though, is some of those who've got legitimate objections joining hands with some of those outside who are part of a far-right group who are... Some of those outside, let's be frank, let's call a spade a spade. Some of those outside are part of the far right, some are COVID deniers, some are vaccine deniers, and some are Tories.
Please kindly subscribe to the channel. It helps the growth of the channel more than I can explain. Thank you very much. Sadiq Khan and his ultra-low emissions expansion is still hanging around us. Sadiq Khan does not care about us. The utter contempt on his face and the shrug of the shoulder says it all. The unnecessary ultra-low emissions expansion must be stopped. I call on all Londoners to come together and let us stop Sadiq Khan and his ULEZ madness. Sadiq Khan has been economical with the truth on more than one occasion. It is a high time he realized that the public is not stupid. It is unbelievable that he is incapable of holding any productive debate, and he is a lawyer. He is so quick in calling people far-right and COVID-19 deniers, when people are simply defending and supporting the best for Londoners and the country. He thinks we do not know what he is up to. He is so quick to call protesters racists and bigots. And yes, if you disagree with some of his outrageous and ludicrous ideas, then you instantly become a far-right and a bigot. The contempt he holds against the public is unbelievable. Sadiq Khan is such a self-righteous, arrogant person. His attitude towards the Londoners is quite appalling. He thinks he knows best. I do not believe this man has leadership skills. He is doing a disservice to Londoners. Quite simply a dictator in the making. Sadiq Khan has lost the battle, and all that people need to do is overturn the congestion charge altogether along with ULEZ. He has no choice now but to back down. It is wrong for him to tell people when and where they can drive their cars. What next is this man going to do? Close all the car factories? Collectively, we can stop this man from bullying Londoners into submission into a decision that is going to throw us into deep poverty. Please be there on Saturday, March 18th. Let us fill Trafalgar Square. Let us send a strong message to Sadiq Khan. The mayor, Sadiq Khan, makes London foreign to British people. Just imagine not being able to drive to your capital city, because, not only are you paying for the privilege, but you are also paying for parking. This man knows his time is up as London Mayor of London. I reckon, this is what is driving him to hurl insults like the ones he was displaying in Ealing, by calling people far-right and COVID-19 deniers. Calling a spade is not the best choice of words to use at this point in time. His contempt for working-class Londoners knows no bounds. Sadiq Khan is supposed to serve Londoners, not act like a god. The man has the nerve to offer you £2,000 to sell your car. The man is totally out of touch. Where are you going to find a decent car priced £2,000? Sadiq Khan does not care about us. The utter contempt on his face, and the shrug of the shoulder, says it all. It is now time for the government to pass a bill to abolish the role of mayor. Sadiq Khan has shown just how ridiculous his role of London mayor is. British people have been taxed left, right and centre. The mayoral duties should be returned to the councils. It worked perfectly well before. I am surprised that we are not being charged for breathing oxygen. I am almost sure some scientist somewhere will be working on that in due course. The mayor needs to understand democratic principles, represent the people who put him there. Right now, he is representing himself. The mayor needs to understand that he can be removed from office, in the same way that Margaret Thatcher was forced to resign. She was brought down by the unfair poll tax and the self-inflicted mistakes during her leadership. The people who elected her are the same people that ejected her. The same may happen to him if he does not listen to the cry of Londoners. I reckon he has blown his chances of becoming a Labour leader. The anti-poll tax rally in London in 1990 was one of the worst riots in the capital for a century. It brought down Margaret Thatcher's leadership. The same can happen to Sadiq Khan. He is being dictatorial, and the British people will not tolerate that behaviour attitude. The community charge, commonly known as the poll tax, was a system of taxation introduced by Margaret Thatcher's government in replacement for domestic rates in Scotland from 1989, prior to the introduction in England and Wales from 1990. It was a single flat rate, per capita tax on every adult, at a rate set by the local authority. It was unjustifiably too high. Can you imagine, if you have a house with 4 adults or more? That was a lot of money paid out to the council. It was unfair, and it cost Margaret Thatcher her leadership. Now the Mayor of London is following on the same footsteps. Thank you all for your time. Remember, you are loved. Do not forget to join the ultra-low emission zone protest on Saturday, March 18th. Trafalgar Square. I wish you all a peaceful week. Catch you real soon.